Welcome to the 2025 Fairfax Area High School Student Shark Tank Technology Challenge. I'm Carmen Trina Kiers, Human Development Specialist with the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services. In the fall of 2024, Fairfax County challenged high school students across the county to develop an innovative technological device or application that would improve the quality of life for older adults, adults with disabilities, or their caregivers. After research, design, testing, and retesting their products, students submitted their finished products to the 50+ Technology Committee for review. 6 finalists are here with us today to pitch their products to our Shark Tank judges. Our judges will decide which competitors will be awarded a cash prize. We want to acknowledge and offer many thanks to Integrity One partners for providing cash awards for the winning students. This is the 9th year that Integrity One has sponsored this event, and we are grateful for their continued support. Our judges will be evaluating each student competitor on criteria such as whether the device meets a need or enhances quality of life, how effective the device is at providing a solution, how easy the device is to use, as well as the students' understanding of the challenges faced by older adults, adults with disabilities, or their caregivers using technologies. Our student finalists will present their devices to the panel and then answer the questions from our judges. After all teams have presented, the judges will deliberate to determine the winners. Our viewers will get to see who the winners are immediately following this competition. Now let's introduce our judges. Pete Lamont is a partner and the Chief Operating Officer at Integrity One Partners, a professional services firm that specializes in management and IT consulting for federal government clients. Pete has a strong background in program management and business process improvement, and he drives operational excellence, oversees project delivery, and plays a key role in business development. Pete recognizes the transformative power of AI and is focused on leveraging AI to enhance service delivery, empower teams, and create new opportunities for clients, staff, and the company. Tiffany O'Neill is a first-generation college student entering her 4th year as a doctoral student in the College of Education and Human Development at George Mason University. She earned a graduate certificate in Assisted Technology at GMU, her Master of Science in Human Services Administration, with an emphasis on special education at the University of Baltimore, and a Bachelor of Science in Speech-Language Pathology from the University of the District of Columbia. Tiffany is an Assistive Technology Specialist and the Technical and Training Support Specialist at AIM, Virginia, where she conducts a variety of training sessions to support educators as they work towards incorporating inclusive and accessible practices in their classrooms and careers. Rolando Moraes is an information technology educator at the Hybla Valley Community Center. Rolando has always been passionate about 3D design and technology, and he shares his passion by teaching and working with cutting-edge tools like 3D printers, design software, and digital fabrication equipment. One of Rolando's favorite projects is designing and building a fully functional claw machine. He enjoys teaching and helping people discover their creativity and gain confidence in new skills. Raman Gudamapur is an information technology educator at Gum Springs Community Center, where he inspires young minds and encourages creativity through technology and hands-on learning. As an information technology educator, he teaches students how to navigate the digital world by introducing them to concepts like coding, cybersecurity, and computer literacy. His passion for technology allows him to evaluate innovative ideas with a critical and supportive eye, and he looks forward to empowering the next generation of innovators. Amanda Smedley has over 28 years of experience working with individuals with disabilities of all ages. She graduated from George Mason University with a BS in Health and Recreation Resources. Amanda held many roles during her 20-year service with Fairfax County Therapeutic Recreation, including program coordinator, recreation assistant, and volunteer coordinator. Amanda currently serves as the Director of Day Program Services at ServiceSource, an organization that supports more than 500 adults with disabilities at 13 locations throughout Northern Virginia. She is also a member of the Leadership Fairfax Institute class of 2025. At this time, I am delighted to invite Hunter Mills Supervisor Walter Alcorn to share his comments with all of the teams who are competing. Welcome, Supervisor Alcorn.
Thank you very much, Carmen Trina. This is a real pleasure to be back here again this year for the Shark Tank Challenge. I am the Hunter Mill District Supervisor on the Board of Supervisors. I'm also the chair of the board's Older Adults Committee. And this is a wonderful confluence and bringing together of a couple of threads that are really important to me. First of all, really things that benefit our older adults are so important. We have a thriving older adults population in Fairfax County, but the devices, the technologies, the applications that you're going to be seeing today that are being presented really provide the opportunity of improving lives. So this is very, very important. It also builds on an amazing cadre of young people that we have in Fairfax County, young innovators that are bringing new ideas to society and doing things that haven't been done before. It's so exciting to see this innovation being directed in such a beneficial way. So I very much appreciate it. Thank you to NCS, the sponsor, everybody here, the judges, and all the folks that are pitching their products and devices and technologies today. And I look forward to hearing what's coming and what's new. Thank you very much.
Now let me introduce our first team of finalists from Langley High School with the product Blind Sight. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your project.
Hello, my name is Krishtavare, and I'll be presenting my app, which is titled Blind Sight, and it's an app set towards empowering the visually impaired using machine learning and empathy. So let's get to the problem. So first off, globally, there's an expected 285 million individuals who are expected to be visually impaired. Now, out of that, 39 million are expected to be clinically blind. Now, you may be wondering what causes this. There are various problems which cause visual impairment, such as glaucoma, cataracts, and age-related issues such as macular degradation. And this has many impacts on the visually impaired person's daily lives. It hinders their ability to study, interact with others, as well as perform daily tasks such as work. Now, when thinking of a solution, I decided to introduce my app, Blind Sight, and it's set towards reducing the mobility struggle associated with daily life in individuals. So first off, when making an app set towards empowering the visually impaired, you have to focus on accessibility. I implemented 4 main high-value features, which are set towards increasing the accessibility for this app for the visually impaired. First off, I focused on a simple UI. By reducing the complexity associated with many apps set towards the visually impaired, I made this app easy to use for people who may be hard of sight. Additionally, by implementing high contrasting colors such as bright red, bright yellow, and bright blue, which have been proven through research to stick out more to someone who is visually impaired, the buttons will be easier to use for the visually impaired. Third, I've got discernible haptic feedback. Now, this involves using a unique set of vibrations for each button and feature on the app so that the visually impaired person will know exactly what page that they're reaching without the need to read hard-to-read text. Furthermore, I've got audio/text-to-speech support, which reads out all the objects that the app would recognize, alerting the visually impaired person of their surroundings. So now let's look at the UI of my app. As we can see here, we've got 3 simple features on the main screen, which take you to 3 easy-to-use functions. I've first got the object recognition function, then we've got 2 secondary functions, which are first emergency mode, as well as transportation features. And I'll get right into that. So, you may be wondering how this app really works. Here's a quick demo on how the functions of my app work, as well as the different features associated with the app. Hi, my name is Krishtavare, and I'm the creator of Blind Sight, an app set to empower the visually impaired using cutting-edge technology. Integrated within the app are various features for safety and accessibility, meant to serve the entire spectrum of the visually impaired. On top of this, by being powered with machine learning and artificial intelligence technology, Blindsight gives the visually impaired the freedom they need to live an independent life. By leveraging a trained real-time object detection model to visually scan and verbally call out your surroundings, Blindsight enables seamless navigation in various environments.
Welcome to Blindsight. To access your emergency contacts, press the top of the screen. To access the optical guidance tool, press the middle of the screen. To locate nearby transportation, press the bottom of the screen.
Now opening the optical guidance tool.
Detected, stairs. Detected, handrail. Detected, stairs. Detected, metal. Detected, bench.
To help those who require mobility aid, I 3D printed an attachment to prop their phone on their cane, allowing the app to continue to provide optimal service while freeing up a hand.
Detected, wall. Detected, statue.
Using Bluetooth to send audio wirelessly to the user, the app can be used in noisy locations seamlessly.
Detected, bicycle. Detected, vehicle.
But Blindsight goes beyond navigation. Our emergency mode ensures safety on the streets and other public facilities, like the metro. Emergency contacts can be added and called with just a click. And for extreme situations, a 911 button is also provided.
Now accessing emergency contacts.
The Washington Monuments may seem far away, but with Blindsight, I can quickly access transportation options to get me where I need to go. With just a tap, I can find a ride using various transportation services.
Now locating nearby transportation.
The app was developed using Java and Kotlin programming on Android Studio. It uses a set of trained objects using Google's machine learning model for object detection. Okay, sharks. Now you may be wondering how this object detection really works. Let's get into a quick schematic showing how my object detection feature works in a more dynamic way. So first off, once object detection feature is activated, the camera feed of the mobile device that the blind or the visually impaired person is using is activated. Then images from the camera are sent and pre-processed through a machine learning model. Now, these features which are extracted from the individual images are compared with a set of trained models, and based on the highest confidence score for each feature, a confidence score is calculated. And based on the highest confidence score, the objects are read aloud using a text-to-speech service. Now, let's get into some user testing for how the app works in real-world environments.
Now opening the optical guidance tool.
Detected, asphalt. Detected, asphalt. Detected, wall. Detected, wall. Detected, room. Detected, vehicle. Detected, asphalt. Detected, chair. Detected, chair. Detected, building. Detected, dress.
Now that we've seen how the app works, we can see that although the object recognition isn't 100% perfect, we can see that it's meant to be tested in a range of different environments. Whether you live in a suburban setting, an urban setting, indoors, outdoors, all these various different environments are meant for a range of different demographics of the visually impaired. Now, let's look at a quick roadmap for my project. For the past 2 years, this app has been in development. Now, this involves getting the object recognition to a higher state, adding special features to assist the visually impaired, such as transportation mode and the safety features. But now, I want to take my app to the next level. Now, with the third prototype, I plan to implement a conversational AI within my app, as well as getting Apple support for my app in order to increase accessibility to those with an iOS phone. Now, when talking about the conversational AI, I want to get this to a state where, although the blind person may need to, or the visually impaired person may need to be pressing buttons on their screen, let's get it to a state where just by just speaking or conversing with the app, they'll be able to get to use the features that they need. Additionally, on top of this, for the future, I plan to implement all the features from Blindsight into an SBC-based product, a smart cane. Now, when looking at this is my physical prototype, or an ergonomic study to see how this cane would really work in the hands of a blind person. Now, all the components will be packed inside of this little 3D printed compartment here, and based on this, with just the press of a few buttons, all of the different features from Blindsight are expected to be used. Now, on top of this, I plan to implement conversational natural language processing with my app to make it easier and more accessible for people from different language backgrounds. Now, let's look at current competitors. There are currently a range of different apps which are set towards assisting the visually impaired. Now, these apps either focus on navigation and mobility or focusing on daily assistance for the visually impaired. Now, what most of them do is they involve the visually impaired person taking pictures of their surroundings in order to scan what's around them, scan the objects, read barcodes, translate text, but my app works in a different way. It first of all empathizes with the user, but also does object recognition in a dynamic way, where the person or visually impaired person wouldn't need to stand still when analyzing their surroundings, but they'd be able to move dynamically, increasing their mobility. Now, when looking at a comparative analysis with different apps, we can see two different apps, Be My Eyes and Google Lookout. And Blindsight already sets itself apart from both of these apps by coming at a $0 price tag. Now, this may be a bit shocking, but I'll get into that in a bit. Next, Blindsight focuses on data privacy, focusing on past models of success, such as DuckDuckGo, in which they gained their loyalty from their users by ensuring that user privacy would be kept. Blindsight does not track data usage, as well as personal private data. Additionally, Blindsight focuses on an easy and simple to use UI. By reducing the complexities associated with hard to use apps, Blindsight becomes more accessible for the visually impaired. Now, fourth, we've got two other separate features, such as emergency calling and location-based services, which are additionally added in order to increase the freedom and confidence of the visually impaired person. Now let's look at comparing Blindsight to all the different apps that are set towards empowering the visually impaired. Blindsight works in a way, apart from all of them, empathizing with the problems of the visually impaired person in order to tackle their issues in a more comprehensive way. So now I conducted a SWOT analysis on my app Blindsight. So first, we can see some of the biggest strengths. First off, it comes at a $0 price tag, making this extremely accessible to the visually impaired as long as they've got a mobile device. Now, additionally, there's no privacy leaking. So first of all, we've got no sign up needed in order to use the app. There's no storage of data. And additionally, this app can be upgraded by swapping out the AI/ML model, which is used for object detection. Now let's look at weaknesses. As we can see here, although this app has been in development for 2 years, it's still in the preliminary stages of development. I believe that there's a lot more that can be improved with the app, and I believe that this app can be developed into a physical product, which I mentioned before, the Smart Cane. Next, let's look at opportunities. I believe that I can generate revenue through grants and partnerships with with governmental and non-governmental organizations. Additionally, I plan to implement this into a single board computer-based product, which I mentioned before, the Smart Cane. And then let's look at threats. Currently, there's market saturation. There are a lot of different competitors finding ways to implement technology, machine learning technology, artificial intelligence technology, in order to assist disabled people and the elderly population, such as the visually impaired. That's why Blindsight comes at a unique angle, which empathizes with the user in order to serve them in a more empathetic way. So now let's look at the expenses. For the first year, I believe that $5,000 will need to be spent for professional development and professional platform licensing. Now, this involves taking the app to the further stages and making sure that it's more accessible, efficient, and takes out inefficiencies associated with either the object recognition features and making the app easier to use. Furthermore, it will cost $300 for an enterprise developer account, as well as $100 per year for keeping the app on the App Store. Now, for marketing, I believe that the first year will involve a $1,000 stipend, in which targeted advertisements will be set through social media, partnering with influencers, as well as partnerships with different organizations, such as the American Foundation for the Blind and the National Foundation for the Blind. This comes out to a grand total of $6,400 for the 25 to 26 year, as well as $7,700, a 20% increase for the 26 to 27 year. Now let's look at revenue. I believe that I'll be able to gain a significant amount of revenue through individual donations and fundraising drives. Additionally, I plan to get them from grants through partnerships with governmental and non-governmental organizations, getting personal loans from fundraising through family and friends, as well as by gaining support from local members of Congress. I've already received support from District VA10, Congressman Jerry Connolly, and I believe that with support from congressmen like him and other influential figures, I'll be able to market my app in a way that will make it more accessible and increase community outreach. So this is Blindsight, ensuring sight beyond vision. Now, I've showed you the product charts. Now, how do you feel about the vision?
Fantastic. I really appreciate it. coming from language, my kids went to language. It's nice to see you guys representing well here. So the way we're going to do this is I'll ask the first question. We'll kind of go back and forth up and down the row here, and you'll just kind of answer them along the way. So I have a question for you. So when it comes to the funding, you mentioned that it's going to be grant-based, and you talked about some of your expenses, but I didn't see kind of ongoing development costs. And is your model essentially a nonprofit at that point where the goal is to just cover expenses and provide a service, or is there a longer-term effort to try and turn this into big dollars?
Great, thank you so much for your question. So as you can see here, currently the development of my app has not involved any monetary funds. However, that's not to say that I don't plan to make or receive money for this product in the future. Amazon, one of the biggest companies in the world right now, suffered a loss for 9 total years because they were doing something that was different from all the competitors in the market. I plan to implement this into a single board computer-based product, a smart AI cane. And the problem with many canes currently that are out there that are powered by AI are the fact that they come at a very high price range. They're inaccessible to many users. You can see an average cane ranging from $400, prices starting from $400 to thousands of dollars just for a simple cane. I realize that the power and technology within these canes shouldn't be coming at such a high cost. I want to make my app accessible. So by developing this product in the future, I believe that most of my funds will be able to be received through there.
Thank you for your presentation. Great presentation. My question, going back to your participants, I saw that you had adult user. Can you speak a little bit more to the participant, why you chose that person, how they demonstrated the product for you, and any feedback that they gave?
Okay, great. So one thing about my project was this, although being a passion project, user feedback was a very crucial part towards the development of my app. Now, I got feedback from peers at my school, and I got my app tested by peers at my school, as well as my family members. And as you can see there in the video, that was one of my family members testing out the app. One thing I wanted to do with the app was test it in various environments. I recognize the visually impaired people don't just come from one environment, not just urban, suburban, and the app will need to be tested in indoor and outdoor settings. So by getting that family member to test the app in various different locations, I would be able to associate the problems and identify what problems come with object recognition in these different environments.
That was a good presentation. I've never seen or heard of an app like that before. It's a pretty cool idea. Question I had when you were talking, I was like, because obviously the app is using Wi-Fi on your phone. So what happens if you're using your app and all of a sudden you lose Wi-Fi? Like, do you have any, like, is your phone gonna like still work, or, you know?
Okay, thank you again for that question. I'm really happy that you brought that up. So one thing about my app is that it does not require Wi-Fi at all to use. So it uses a prepackaged machine learning model, which we downloaded onto the iOS or onto the mobile device. On top of that, for features like emergency services and transportation features, which are currently in development, they will primarily involve data. So like an SMS card input into the phone, we'll be able to use to activate the emergency contact features. However, the main feature, object recognition, the dynamic object recognition, will not require any Wi-Fi at all.
Awesome job, by the way. I thought you did fantastic. One of my questions is, I feel like there's a lot of redundancy in your app. What is going to make someone who's already using a cane or something, or already using like Google Siri, hey Siri, can you call, can you call my dad? Touching the emergency button, I think 3 to 5 times. How do you encourage someone to use this app when we already have, already hundreds of years of people using these technology, obviously cane, not the Siri? How would you encourage them to move over to this digital format?
Okay, great. Thank you for asking that question. So one big part about my app is reducing the struggle with mobility. Now, a person who's visually impaired who may be using a cane, and then you said they've got their phone out, right? That would be greatly decreasing their mobility, as they'd be holding their phone while using their cane and doing all the different activities that they need to do. Now, one thing I mentioned was I want to introduce a product which involves a single button or very minimal buttons onto a cane, which will be able to have all the features, including a conversational AI like Siri, and that'll be able to include all the features that they need to, I guess, increase their mobility and increase their freedoms to their daily life. So instead of having their cane in one hand and using their phone in the other, activating Siri or other features that they need to do, like calling their parents, opening maps, that would all be done with just the press of one button and conversing with the conversational AI. Now, this transition may be rough, and transitions usually are rough, but I'm trying to sell a future that increases the mobility and freedom with the visually impaired.
Thank you for your presentation. I have two questions, but my first question is, you mentioned that this is a passion project. So can you tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to develop this?
Great, thank you for your question. So one big thing in my family is poor vision runs a lot through my family. My grandma had diabetes, and that led to severe macular degradation in her eyes. So she was pretty much almost clinically blind. So with that reduction in her sight, that greatly decreased her mobility. It was hard for her to complete just basic daily tasks. So I realized with such a rampant problem that affects millions across the globe, I wanted to find a way that I could solve this problem for others in a way that empathizes with the problems that they face in their daily lives. However, when looking at products that are currently out there, like the current smart canes, which include features such as conversational AI or object recognition, they come at such a high price line, which is inaccessible to those in different environments or different family situations where they're not able to acquire the funds to gain such an advanced smart cane. So I came from a spot where I wanted to increase the accessibility for these different products with the visually impaired.
Excellent. And this leads to my second question. Have you tested this on, and you mentioned that your family helped you test it. Have you tested it with anyone who is visually impaired? And if so, what was their feedback?
So currently, visual impaireds, I've not tested this app in per se with actual visual impaired persons. However, this app has been coming into development for a few years now just to test and make sure that this app can get to a functional state. Now, I believe that once this app is set to a state where it can be exported and sent to a market, I'll be able to test this app with people from different backgrounds, people with different visual impaireds, and get this app to a state where it truly empathizes with their needs, not just the needs that I believe are applying to them. However, that's not to say that their input was not necessary for this project. This project was research-based. However, the 4 accessibility features which I included, the high contrasting UI, the discernible haptic feedback, the audio text-to-speech support, they all came from research studies in order to see the biggest problems associated with the visually impaired, in order to address their problems.
Okay, so that would be something, as you continue to develop this, I would encourage you to do in the future, that you're really seeking out that input from people who would be using the product.
Oh,
What about, so Amanda, you're done?
I'm done, yeah.
So next, when you were doing your testing, and it was doing its, essentially monitoring the space around it, it was describing things. What is the range of the object identification? And I noticed that as you were moving through, it did not pick up a curb, and I'm wondering how you're dealing with smaller objects like that.
Great, so thank you for that question. So as I mentioned before, this app is still in preliminary stages of development. I'm trying to sell a vision here. However, when testing the app, it's the machine learning model that the camera feed is activated and sent through calculates a confidence score for each of the objects that it recognizes. This all depends on what type of device you're using, how good the camera quality is, and based on the highest confidence score for the features that it recognizes within its camera feed, it'll read out those objects to you. Now, this can be customized through the app development process, where I can read out multiple objects, such as smaller objects, as well as just one of the highest or most standing out object, most contrasting object. So that will be development in the future, but as of now, I'm just trying to find a way to make this app functional and usable for visually impaired people.
See, now you made me want to ask a different question, but I'm gonna stick to what I was going to ask you initially. In the demonstration, we can hear the app speaking out, labeling all of the things in its environment. Is there a way for the user to adjust how frequently it does, or can the person turn it off if they just want to use the cane as just without any sounding?
So as of now, there are some features within the app which are set for the user to change. So the user can turn off the audio that reads out all of the objects around them. However, for changing the frequency of the audio callouts, that's accessible through the app development process, so I'll be able to change that from there. However, I plan to implement features like that in future iterations of the app.
I know in a perfect world, it can be free. You can have these grants. Let's say an investor comes along and does ask you, hey, you know what? I would like a service-based. I know a lot of apps nowadays, they have they're service-based, pay as you go. Do you have any ideas of what we would have as a, blind site plus or anything along those lines? What you would include to have, again, service-based, if you were to charge?
Great, so that's a great question. So in the future, as I mentioned with the product, apart from the app, I'll get right back to the app in a second, but I plan to implement AI chips within the app, so within the product. So currently, as of now, I plan to develop it using single board computers. Now these are cheap and accessible pieces of electrical components, which will be able to be put into a comprehensive product. However, in the future, by introducing AI chips, I'll be able to integrate it to a further level where the user can converse with the AI, access the various features within the app without needing to actually press anything. And just with the click of a button, they'll be able to access any feature within the app. Now, this will come at a higher price, and although AI chips are very expensive right now, they will continue to decrease in price as more competition increases. Now, this is one of the things I want to increase, which will be able to gain revenue for the app. However, for service-based, for just specifically in the app, I believe that by adding simple features such as a higher degree of object recognition or further development features, which I believe this is still a work in progress, and I believe that by further research, I'll be able to determine exactly what's needed in order to increase or add to something such as a service such as Blindside Plus.
Have you considered any safety concerns with this? So, one of the things I was thinking is it is giving you a really good picture of your environment, but as we know, environments are unpredictable. So if there was a person to walk right in front of them or a car coming, something like that, was there a thought with that? Is that built into the process? Is this app going to be able to account for that?
Great, so this app is meant towards reducing the struggle with mobility. I want to increase the visually impaired person's mobility. So that involves recognizing people around them, recognizing crosswalks, and different infrastructural features. So this app will indeed recognize like crosswalks and different features associated with infrastructure in, I guess, urban environments, like you may have mentioned, and people walking in front of them. So that's primarily one of the objectives of the app, to find those different unpredictable situations that the visually impaired person may face and allow them to handle it with confidence.
Thank you.
So I want to touch on competition for a second, and we know this is all in preliminary, and the more we engage you, it's because we kind of like what you're talking about. When it comes to the competition and what makes you special, I see you're taking components and technologies and bringing them together into your space, and you're going to put some magic around it so that this next competitor can't come in and say, well, I can take the same pieces you have and do the same thing. What is it that's going to keep your competitors essentially from taking over your idea and just mass producing it?
Great, so that's actually a really good question. So when thinking of my app came from a point of personal empathy, empathizing with the visually impaired. Now, this involved my different accessibility features, like I mentioned before. However, I want to come from a point where I can not only increase the accessibility of the app itself, but increase the accessibility of the product to the visually impaired. Now, many visually impaired focused apps use hard-to-see buttons, complex features, which increase the complexity of the app, but also make it harder for the visually impaired person to actually use the app. By focusing on a point of just simplicity and usability for the visually impaired, I believe that sets my app away from everyone in the market. Additionally, by coming at a $0 price tag for the app as of now, I believe that this app will be accessible for users so I can get into a further stage of development where I believe to understand further problems associated with the visually impaired, such as by doing testing with real-life users. And then furthermore, with that feedback, I'll be able to make a comprehensive app that not only empathizes with the user, but handles their problems in an effective way.
Well, my question is going to be more of a consideration/question. So, I love that you have your buttons big and everything like that. Have you considered or have you tested it along with the built-in features of, let's say, an iPhone where it can do voice of screen reading so that if a person can't see those buttons, it can navigate still through your app? Have you tested it with that? With any of the devices that have those built-in features? Have you tested to see if it is compatible and working effectively?
Thank you for that question. So that actually was a big consideration during the stages of developing my project. Now, as I mentioned, this app is currently it was developed on Android Studio, and it's only compatible with Android as of now. However, one thing that I mentioned in my roadmap was that I did want to get this app integrated and available on iOS devices. However, with my app, I'm trying to get to a stage where it can be more accessible. So this involves even taking away the buttons associated with the app. I plan to get to a single button stage with the implementation of a conversational AI that will be able to speak with the user using natural language processing in order to understand their problems and get and address their needs without the need for buttons, which may be hard to use for someone with visual impairments.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. This is just a brilliant idea. What you have, we also have, we'd like to remind the contestants that you have a big brain trust here, and as your product is being developed, these people are also here to help you, iterate your product and your ideas. So there's lots of people to leverage. We had a former judge that was with AARP. He had access to just different resources than we all do. So please make sure you're leveraging us. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our next student team from Centerville High School with their project, Branch Out. Please introduce yourselves and tell us about your project. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Kamya.
My name is Shriya Sangaraju.
And my name is Chaitna Ganesh.
Our project is titled Branch Out, and our mission is to prevent social isolation in seniors by branching out and tapping into the untapped network of information that lies amongst seniors.
So, from the beginning of time, human civilization has passed knowledge from generation to generation. This passage of knowledge has allowed society to advance rapidly, though in recent times, much of the wisdom from our elders is often overlooked.
Over 50% of adults over the age of 60 experience some form of social isolation, and over 1/3 of seniors reported loneliness and/or lack of fulfillment. Social isolation has proven to be an additional risk factor that leads to severe consequences in a multitude of seniors.
So now, you may be wondering how our website works to combat these prevalent issues.
Well, the answer is really within our inspiration. A few years ago, my grandmother moved from her house in India to our house in the US. This meant that her sense of community was almost entirely gone. That is, until she started a YouTube channel where she taught religious scripture and connected with a network of younger adults who were seeking to learn more from her. She was only able to do this, however, with the help of me and my brother.
So we got to thinking, how many seniors are out there that have life's wisdom that they want to share but don't have any outlet to do so? Well, our platform directly enables them to share their life experiences, thus combating the issue of social isolation by allowing them to make meaningful contributions in their communities.
Branch Out is designed to connect seniors with youth. Passionate seniors with decades of experience are able to share their wisdom with either young adults or teens who are seeking their advice.
Young adults and teens of any type can use our website. However, first-generation youth have a lot to gain from our website because first-generation youth are often put at a disadvantage in the college and career application process. This is because they often do not have connections to people in their respective fields. Our website hopes to bridge this gap and stop this disadvantage.
So here we have a picture of our landing page for our website where potential mentors and mentees can create accounts, and this page just reiterates our guiding message, which is to reach across generations for wisdom. So on the next slide, we do have a live demo of our website, which is a basic walkthrough of how users can sign up and the features they can use. So you go to our landing page and you can click either become a mentor or become a mentee. So now we're going to sign up as a mentor. So you write your name, email, and you can select your role, which would be mentor in this case, and your password. Once you sign up, you log in again just to make sure you remember your email and password. So this takes you to mentor profile. You can update your profile and add your relevant experience in careers you're proficient in, and add meeting focus preferences, which is what type of advice you would want to share with youth as a mentor. After this, you can add to your bio and also upload a profile picture if you wish to do so. So that is the basic process for signing up as a mentor.
Now, to sign up as a mentee, it's the same process, except of course in this time you sign up and you select your role as a student instead. So you put in your email, your name, of course create a password, and it makes you re-log in, of course to make sure that you remember your email and password. This takes you to the student homepage where you can update your profile again, and you have the options to customize the same fields you did as a mentor, so you can add in interests that you have and meeting focus goals that you have, so the type of advice that you hope to be learning from mentors. This is used for creating customized matches with mentors that are best suiting your preferences. And these customized matches can be seen in your profile page. If you're not a fan of any of these matches, you can also search for specific mentors using the filters of experience and meeting focus goals, and you can find specific mentors that you would be interested in speaking with. Once you've selected a mentor, you can click on their profile, and it takes you to their profile page. On their profile page, you can click Request Meeting, and this sends them a notification that you want to chat with them. You can also chat with them specifically by searching their name in our chat conversation. And once you've selected their name, you can start a conversation with them, and you can talk back and forth to discuss meeting details and potential times for meeting. This allows you to facilitate conversation and even send resources back and forth, because our website allows you to send links back and forth.
So from a mentor perspective, after a mentee requests to speak with you or connect with you, you'll get a notification in your inbox. So you can go to the chat page to see if they messaged you, and you can also message them back using this. So you can say, hi. Okay, and then after that, you can go back and also view their profile just to see what they're interested in terms of careers, so you can see how you can help them as a brief overview. And then if you go back, you can also approve that you want to connect with them, and the message will go away just to keep your inbox clutter-free. So on the next slide, we also have another part of our website, which is guides and additional info. So if you need help with navigating our website, all the information you need is here, and it gives you tips on how to be successful when using our platform. So there's information for mentees and for mentors, and there's a section on how communication will be facilitated inside and outside the platform.
So as you can see, our website's market is observably large and growing. There is a steady increase in mentorship in the United States over the years. So this shows that our website's market is prevalent and growing, which means it can tap into that. So we do have competitors, but they only share some similar features to our website, and they are paid. They focus on younger audiences, and they're not really college and career advice specific, which we aim to specialize in. Our target audience is mentors who are still interested in their career fields and are willing to share that advice with younger generations.
In one of our test runs, we connected with Minetta, the CEO of Guiding Future Success. She owns a company that's dedicated to mentoring students, and she was able to give us a lot of valuable feedback on our website.
My name is Minetta Miner. I'm the founder and CEO of Guiding Future Success. I couldn't be more honored today to provide feedback on Branch Out. Soraya and Kamia have done an amazing job with this idea, and I do see the value that it could bring to mentees and mentors alike in order to learn from one another. Overall, I believe the website is done really well. It's user-friendly, and I love the color palette. I think that a save button would be really helpful so that clients know that their information has been captured, perhaps more prominently highlight the benefits for both parties to leverage the solution. But other than that, I can't wait to see where it goes.
So we also ran through creating some accounts and facilitating meetings between students and mentors, which see on the next slide. Here's an example of one such meeting.
Yeah, so to get feedback on our project idea and website, we connected with seniors and older adults in our community. So we talked with Facebook groups, and we also connected with senior centers like the Sully Senior Center, the Herndon Senior Center, and Brightview Senior Living. And we sent them a website link and a survey to give feedback. So based on the survey results, we saw that over 61% of these people were interested in mentoring. And we also saw that a majority of respondents were comfortable with either audio or video calling to facilitate these meetings. And we saw that no respondents were particularly uncomfortable with connecting with new people.
In terms of our website's future, we hope to better improve the way that we can help students and mentors alike. On the mentors aspect, we hope to create in-person events to deepen social connection between mentors and students. These events would be hosted at places like local libraries or community centers. And on the students aspect, we hope to connect with and partner with other companies like Guiding Future Success so that we can give more resources to our students that use our website.
So in terms of our budget, we plan to use it for further developing our website's interface and expanding our outreach. So the current tool that we use to run and develop our website is paid and costs $29 per month, which is where a majority of the budget would be going towards. However, we really want to focus on taking our website to the next level and improving its quality. So for example, adding more accessibility features, such as a way for users to manually increase font size and more functions for to enhance the mentor's user experience. So implementing a calendar feature to automatically track student meetings and a notification system that connects to their personal devices. So everything, all communication and updates are facilitated through our website and they don't have to worry about doing that on their own. And with the additional funding, we really just want to focus on expanding our outreach and getting our platform out to as many people as possible. So with our website branch out, we want to bridge the gap between generations and create meaningful mentorship opportunities. We truly believe in the impact of our website and hope that you see the value in investing in our vision. With that, Sharks, thank you so much for your time, and we hope that you welcome us on board into joining us as partners in this journey and branch out to grow and create connections that last a lifetime. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. As somebody who has now more wisdom than I did when I was your age, I'm happy to see you guys recognizing that there is a lot of stuff that people that are older than you can pass along. And I'm glad, you're just very, very happy to see it. One thing I didn't pick up on is you talked about how you can sign up mentors and how you reach out to them, but how are you marketing to the people in your generation?
So our school specifically, and I know that a lot of other schools in our county and other counties have something called a career and resources department, or college and career resources department, where their main mission is to just connect students with resources like ours and other platforms that help them navigate at this time in our lives. So we would hope to connect with school departments and make sure that they can also send out our resource as one of those resources.
This is very innovative and I love it. Thank you for your presentation. Very well done. My question is regarding safety. What is the vetting process as you're pairing these folks with students? How is that being done to determine if the person is safe?
So as of right now, we don't have a way to vet the mentors that are joining, but we do have access to all of the chats and all of the profile information. So we can manually go in and read every chat. We can also go in and make sure that each mentor that's signing up is a good person, and we can do background checks that way.
Also, we mentioned that we were working with a company called Guiding Future Success. So we talked with Minetta, and she said she does know a company that does run background checks and facilitates those types of services. So with the funding, we would like to, connect with that company and use that for branch out, just to add additional security, since we are branching to different target audiences. And another thing is all this Google Meets that are facilitated outside the website when mentors and mentees are talking are recorded, which is how we got the screenshot of it. So we're just making sure that everything is visible and transparent to keep safety. Okay.
That was a good presentation. It's a good idea. We actually have a couple people that we work with that are mentors, and they mentor kids right now, so I think they could use your app as well. Is there any cost to the user to use this app?
No, that's actually one of the things that we found sets our website apart. Using the website is going to be completely free on the student side, and the way that we're planning on funding is just using grants and different application processes that will give us some funding. But for the most part, our website doesn't really require money to run, so we don't need to charge our users.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
you actually took my biggest question was exactly that. Just to hear again, you've created an app where adults can talk to youth and meet with them. So if you can understand, that's for me, that's very scary. I know you guys, you said you're in high school. How would you implement something, we said the background checks, but we need to see it on probably the youth side, parental controls, anything along those lines. How would we, again, just to repeat, how would we keep the kids safe? Like, other than, just background checks. I know when we do bring people into the community centers, we have extensive, we get to know them, we meet them, we design projects along those lines. How would you, on the more people side or the youth side?
So on the mentor or mentee side of it, we hope to have parental permission when creating the accounts. We're going to add in fields that make sure that the parent has their email, their name, their contact information, and so that the mentee isn't signing up as an individual, but instead as a kid of some adult over 18, and that way that it can all be monitored by the parent, and instead of just being solely run on the kid side.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So first, I want to say, as a parent who has children your age, and then I also have aging parents, I think this is an excellent idea. This is really needed, I feel like, in our society, to have a way to connect, those who have the experience and those who are really looking and maybe not sure where to go and lost and need that direction. So I thought this was an excellent presentation. So thank you so much for that. One thing I want to find out if you considered, it's really sort of on the other side of the vetting process, because last year we had a presentation that was talking quite a bit about scams for older adults. So yes, it is important to, be vetting those folks who are going to be the mentors, but also have you considered at all that this could be a possible, potential danger for somebody who's older to be scammed?
Right. So our website doesn't have any advertisements, so there's no links that they could click on to that would lead them outside of our website. So in terms of actual safety, virus stuff, I don't think that should be a problem. But if the mentors do have concerns, we plan to do a lot of in-person outreach at community centers, especially over spring break, because that'll line up best with our school schedule, to make sure that they actually get a good feel of what our website is doing. And at the moment, we're really focusing at a community level, so at a Fairfax level, of making sure that we can just connect with seniors and youth that are in our community. So we will be able to, in person, talk them through our website and make sure that they actually have a good understanding of what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as knowledge is shared, it's almost a one-to-one, with the mentor and the mentee. Have you guys thought about creating a knowledge repository, so as people can maybe recommend resources to the mentee that then would get stored in your system? So the next person that came through, they wouldn't say, well, Pete's not available, but this is some of Pete's recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be stuff that we would add to the profiles that we have. So when students are viewing the profile, they can see the different stuff that mentor has previously recommended. We also talked about just partnering with businesses like Guiding Future Success, because those businesses also really are focusing on giving resources. So we were hoping that we could implement some of those resources and create a landing page where those resources can all be compiled. Of course, we would need more piloting and more time to actually accumulate those resources.
Back to safety. Again, I do love this idea because I do know social isolation is an issue. Have you considered creating a report issue button or report button space? And if so, who would that go to? And on both sides, like you said, it's a one-to-one thing. If I'm a mentee and I'm feeling like this person is getting a little weird, is there a button that I can, what's the process like?
So as of right now, the only people that have access to viewing people's information and account information is the three of us. So we all have access to be able to manually go in and delete a profile or get rid of their access to certain things. So if there is a report issue or if someone reports an issue to us, we manually can go in and solve that problem.
But how would they report it?
So that's one of the features that we're hoping to add in the near future, but our website currently doesn't have that button.
I love the name Branch Out. My question for you, because I have my own ideas, how would you expand? How would you, I think you were talking about, changing the website, but how would you branch out into other markets other than just a chat room, essentially?
So in terms of like a chat, like expanding our website or like
other
contacting-
services. So I'll just give you an idea. So two of them was internships. If you have work with the company, like say Fairfax County offers the IT internships. We also shadowing a lot of hands-on people, plumbing, electrical. How, other than those, how would you expect to branch out in just doing, what I believe is a chat room? How would you guys expand other than that?
Yeah, so basically with the mentors, they have experience in their career fields and have connections too. So like when we were talking with Minetta, she is very well known in her network. She has a lot of connections, and we hope to get mentors like that because, everyone knows someone who is well versed in something or a particular topic or career. And basically through those meetings, we do have like meeting focused goals. So there is sections for like industry specific questions or getting those connections and opportunities to the field that you're interested in. So through that and talking, we hope that if that is something like the mentee is interested in, they're able to get that opportunity. And we also do, I think we mentioned it before, plan on providing resources for doing career exploration and doing connecting with companies, and that's one thing we wanted to add to our website.
We also have the option in our website to send links through the chat, so they can send, mentors have the ability to send links to the mentees that actually have specific resources and specific opportunities.
Just be careful with the link sending, just heads up, okay? Thank you.
You did talk briefly about some feedback that you've gotten because you have practiced this already with some mentors and mentees. How did you make changes based on that feedback?
Yeah, so a lot of the feedback that came from it was in terms of just the website and making it adding more features, because once you get onto the website, it really is about connecting with the mentee and the mentor, and then the process really starts. So we wanted to add more features in terms of just making it more accessible, like you guys were mentioning rapport issues, and then also adding opportunities for them to resources that they can connect with on their end. And more feedback in terms of it was just having more people join the platform. So there is a lot of mentors, but we are in the process of still getting more mentees to join, since we do want there to be mentors for each kind of career specific industry until, so if a mentee is interested in a certain field, they'll be able to find someone there, right? So that's something we want to do with outreach.
One more thing. As Minetta mentioned in the feedback video, we did fix the issue of saving the profile. So if they go back to their homepage, they have access and a button that takes them directly back to their profile with their saved information. And we did implement the features of chat box and requesting meetings and things like that.
A lot of the feedback was website specific, so we fixed the specific errors and specific things that they were talking about within the website.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
We welcome our third team from McLean High School with the project Artisan. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your project.
Hi everyone, my name is Alan. Today I'll be presenting to you my project called Artisan. So I'll go ahead and get started. So as we grow older, our body and mind begin a relentless retreat from the vitality of youth. For seniors and adults with disabilities, this decline is not just an inconvenience, but a systemic breakdown of independence, mental well-being, and physical capability. From the ages of 60 to 75, our hand-eye coordination deteriorates by 30%, making activities like writing, buttoning a shirt, or holding utensils more and more difficult. Having no other option but to rely on others for these basic needs only comes with shame, frustration, and a deepening sense of hopelessness. However, art has actually shown to stimulate neuroplasticity, effectively slowing down this process. The American Journal for Occupational Therapy finds that seniors who participated in weekly art programs saw a 73% reduction in depression symptoms. Why? Because art does more than occupy the time, but restores agency and active participation. It reignites this sense of purpose in people who have been told, implicitly or explicitly, that their best years are behind them. However, despite these benefits, the reality is that most seniors lack this access to structured art programs tailored specifically to their needs. Of course, we'll have those big group lessons at community centers, but few are designed for those with mobility issues, visual impairments, and cognitive challenge. So the question is no longer whether art can transform lives, it's how quickly we can bring it to those who need it most. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Artisan, an online collection of art videos designed to empower seniors to explore their creativity. So as we all know, seniors often struggle with this sort of technology, which is why we've placed accessibility and ease of use at the very heart of our design. From the moment you open the homepage, you'll notice these intentionally large buttons, straightforward navigation labels, and simple sentences. This is help reduce any misclicks and minimize general confusion. This will make the website feel more familiar and welcoming for all the seniors. So as you scroll down this homepage, you'll learn more about our mission, why we do what we do, and research. So the true value of Artisan actually lies in the video library. Here you'll find a curated collection of 12 full-length videos ranging from pencil drawings to watercolor paintings. Each video is displayed on a title card with its name, description, and rating out of 3 stars. This is to give the user a rough idea of how long a project might take. So for example, a 1-star video is probably no longer than 5 to 10 minutes, while a 3-star video would be closer to half an hour. From there, let's look at one video in particular. Say we're choosing this lavender flower tutorial as an example. As the video begins to play, you'll notice the options panel located on the right side of your screen. The first thing you have here is the option for large, easy-to-read text captions, just like the subtitles you would have on movies or TV shows. Below that is the control for enhanced audio, allowing you to amplify the noise beyond 100%. And finally, a high contrast mode will boost all of the colors and make it much less strenuous on your eyes. The most notable features of Artisan will be next, but all of these configurations can be toggled on or off with the click of a button, accommodating for seniors who may have hearing or visual impairments. So like I said, all of our art tutorials have a storytelling element woven into the video. So let's say I'll be doing a rose sketch drawing, and then after giving a few instructions, I'll go into the history of Valentine's Day, the symbol of roses throughout our history, and really help people engaged throughout this process. By far, our newest feature is a multi-language support option, allowing users to choose from English, French, Spanish, and Chinese, making this more accessible to a much wider audience. So I'll be playing a quick clip just to demonstrate this feature.
Again, making sure each leaf tip swoops into a delicate point. Savez-vous que comme un point partant du bas de la tige, il est temps de passer à la fleur elle-même. De nuevo, asegura que cada punta de hoja forme un punto delicado. 以此确保每片血尖都优压低收，围成一个精致的点。
So, as you can see, all of the original audio clips were in English, which then gets automatically dubbed with accurate words, phrases, and even the sound of my voice. So, a couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege to visit 2 different care centers to conduct both individual and group testing sessions. In total, we had about 26 people participating in these live demos, and we asked for their thoughts towards the end. Overall, the feedback was overwhelmingly positive, with multiple seniors indicating just how easy it was to follow along. However, one person actually noted how English wasn't her first language, which is what inspired me to add this multi-language option as the latest feature. So going back to our video library, you'll notice that the first 3 videos here are marked as free, while the rest are locked and require a premium subscription. So this is essentially our business model. In order to access this full library, users will choose to either pay $3 a month or $25 a year. And as the creator of all these videos, I'll be working to add 1 to 2 new videos each month, so this price point is designed to be budget friendly, but also ensure the sustainability of our platform. Currently, we're managing this access using cookies and IP addresses, but of course, this function, while functional, it does have its limitations. Our hope is that we use the funding and transition this into a personalized account system where users will instead sign in with a username and password. Here you can see that while we have competitors such as Artfully Aging and Art on Demand, which offer similar art videos, they don't have the same amount of customization features, storytelling, and unique price point, making us incredibly competitive in the current market. So assuming that we have 100 or so subscribers, we can expect to achieve about $3,000 after considering the cost of everything. The best thing about this sort of digital product is its scalability, because we can go from 1,000 to 10,000 users overnight. Finally, Artisan is more than a platform. It is a movement that is designed to restore creativity to where it has been forgotten. It is designed to reignite this sense of worth where it has faded and bring joy to where it is needed the most. Art is in our hands, our hearts, and our histories. It is in the connections we make, the stories we tell, and the emotions we capture. It is not reserved to the young, the able, or the experienced, but inside every single one of us. And with Artisan, it always will be. Thank you.
Alan, fantastic. I'm guessing you were an art major or an art person?
So yeah, I have a background. Art has always been my passion since I was 5 or 6 years old. And from this journey, I've learned so much about myself. And I thought this was the perfect opportunity to really bring this ability and share it to people around me and give back to the community.
Fantastic. So my first question is about getting your product into the hands of the user. So you went to a senior center. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing that is going to be probably your first market is marketing to them and having them, I guess, encourage people to sign up, or is it going to be the general population?
Yeah, so this original testing demo was more of the product itself, how the videos were, how the pacing was less of what's the price point of are you going to be buying it yourself. So for senior centers, I'm thinking it could definitely be an individual purchasing the product, but it could also be a package for if we're going to be selling to this entire senior center, it's a discounted price, but every single person will get to use it. I remember we didn't have one computer per person. It was more like a table of people, maybe 5 or 6, sharing one desktop, and they could share and see the screen. So in the actual product, we would probably have one person and the actual product, the drawing themselves. So it's 1-to-1.
Great presentation. My son's an artist, and I know he would love that for his grandmother. My question to you is, and of course, giving a disclaimer that you unless you create partnerships with them, will you have on your website or are you considering having on your website a place where people, because you mentioned accessibility needs, let's say I need a different type of paintbrush because I have mobility. or just anywhere to suggest where they could purchase supplies? Is there a way to link out from your website to take them to those
That's a very
places?
good question. Thank you. So currently, all of the video tutorials, I will be explicitly stating, okay, here's the supplies you need. And I'm not super particular with any brand. So it's like, oh, as long as you have a pencil, crayon, like stuff like that, you'll be able to access. And if they need to purchase new supplies, I'll give them a couple of ideas near the end of the video saying, here's some websites that will work. But we currently don't have like an automatic redirect from our website, which is the one thing we are planning to add in the future. So we can partner with like art suppliers like Michael's or Blick Art Studios to really like have a place for people to buy these art supplies directly from the website and save them time with like adding different items to their cart so everything's like bundled together.
And just, that's a great idea. And just consider also talking to like you talk to OT specialists, or just looking at alternative art equipment. Because if your target population is seniors, there might be a lot of mobility needs. So holding a marker might not be standard. So just think about that.
Thank you.
Really good presentation, Alan. I really like your idea. I could see, because we work for community centers and we have seniors that come every day, play pickleball and bingo. I could see us incorporating your company into our community center. Probably talk after this. What like plans do you have to expand? Because I saw you only have like 12 lessons, but art you can create a million plans.
Yeah.
Are you going to incorporate any 3D into your art stuff? Because right now it's more like traditional art.
Yeah, of course. So right now, as the only person making these videos, the future plan would be to make this more into like a volunteer movement where we can have like very specified instructions and have like different students, high school students, make these videos themselves. So that way we can pump out like 5 or 6 videos every week, then 1 to 2 every month. And going to your point about 3D videos, we definitely have a good range of mediums right now, like watercolor, acrylic paintings, things like that, even making holiday gift cards. But we definitely want to do more like expressive stuff, maybe even going outside, encouraging people to find things in nature, and really having this mixed media element is something we're definitely looking to do, yeah.
So I just want to repeat what Rolo said. I don't know if you got to see our bios, but we actually are from community centers. I'm from Common Springs, and you went to Pimment Hills and Kingstown. I thought this was fantastic. Same thing as Rolo. When can you come to Gums? We like to incorporate technology and art, and I thought this was super awesome, especially when you blend the two. One of my questions was, it's going to kind of piggyback on Rolo's. How do you feel about implementing AI art or AI drawing designs into your program or your setup?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. I think right now the biggest use of our AI is, like I mentioned, in our language translation models. But if we want, we could definitely like get inspired, as AI art could be used as like the reference photo when we're making these videos, because we don't have to worry about any sort of copyright because it's all original. So that's definitely something we can look into,
I'm glad you brought up copyright. How do you feel about, how do you feel about implementing the AI? And it goes either way. Are you like, do you want to stay to the traditional art, or do you?
I think it's definitely a revenue that we're going to be inevitably needing to explore eventually. So it's like, what brave steps, what like courageous steps are we willing to take now? And I definitely encourage people to like explore everything there is to offer about it, because I definitely think that like from the surface level you think, oh, this is computer generated, it doesn't have that same level of authenticity. But I think eventually art is like, computers are going to be just like any other mediums, like a paintbrush or like a pencil, to be what we use to create art.
So as someone with a background in therapeutic recreation, you are speaking my language with this project. This was great. So I'd like to know, have you considered, I know you're primarily targeting seniors, and you went to a few senior centers. Have you considered any other populations that would benefit from this?
I think the way the videos are made for it to be like so easy to follow, I could also see that not only seniors could use it, but also even toddlers and young children hoping to just do something fun at home. But of course, a lot of the accessibility features, like making the volume louder, is usually for someone who might have trouble hearing at the regular sound.
And on my side, something that I would suggest that you explore would also not only looking at seniors, but, adults with disabilities as well. Because something that I see very valuable with this, and you did touch on it a little bit, it's age appropriate. Because you talked about how a lot of the options that are currently out there, maybe seem a little infantile and things like that. So for people who work with adults with disabilities, they're struggling to find options, that appeal to them. So I would, encourage you to pursue that as well.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
So I really appreciate when you talked about the rows and then started giving some of the history of it. To me, that adds another layer. Have you thought about expanding that almost knowledge sharing and description where it provides maybe the history of the rows, other things that are related to it, the style of the painting they're going to be doing, famous painters that have done that style? Have you thought about that whole lane? Because otherwise, to me, I like going beyond just the arts and crafts aspect. There's a learning aspect to it as well.
So I think, a lot of my videos, I'll give like a couple of instructions and I'll have just this maybe 30-second to a minute clip of me drawing as they're following along. And during this time, I don't have any specific like instructions. So there's where I would have like storytelling features and almost turn it into like a documentary. So while they're drawing here, in the background, they're hearing all of these different stories and really like something that anyone can really appreciate.
I think you spent a lot of time thinking about this app because you're the third contestant, and your app actually had some features that no one else had, like raising the volume, making the bright colors brighter. So you can tell that you actually thought a lot about trying to help the seniors.
Thank you.
So one of the questions I have for you is how do you see challenges in the future? I know there was products already available. I don't know how those go, but there's not necessarily a step-by-step. Like how do you beat someone just going to a YouTube and putting on Bob Ross? How do you deal with those challenges, especially going with the future when we already have not products, but we have things available?
Yeah, very good question. I think, like I said, the most notable and the most thing that makes us unique is this element of storytelling, where if you're following just any YouTube tutorial, you'll go through it, that might be 40 minutes long, and a lot of people will be very encouraged to start off, but after they do it for 15 minutes, they might become a little bit unengaged and feel like, okay, do I have the motivation to finish this entire piece? I think one of the competitors we had right here is called Art on Demand. If you can, it's very small, but their video is, I think, 37 minutes long in total. And during this entire process, a lot of it is, okay, I'll give you an instruction, and then the rest is just silence of you following along. And I think for seniors, it's very helpful to really have something that draws them in, not only at the very beginning, but just throughout the whole video.
Yeah, you can also do ambient music in the back.
Yeah, of
That'd
course.
be kind of cool.
I think one of the features we wanted to add was, instead of storytelling, you could have a feature on the side that could you could choose your own music, your favorite songs, and have it play while I'm not talking about the instructions. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
You mentioned when you were testing it that it seemed as though there might be several people who were around a computer. And I see that as definitely being used that way, where a day program, senior centers such as that, they would have maybe this put up on the screen. Have you thought at all about how you might adapt if this were to be a group event, a group lesson? How would you change things for that?
I think the biggest thing I would probably do is reconsider the pacing of everything, because right now I'm assuming it's one person, one computer, and I'll say I have accounted for, they might need a couple minutes to pause here and catch up. So for groups, I would assume that'd be a longer time where I could go in more detail about the storytelling elements and maybe make everything paced out a little bit more easier so that people don't need to pause the video as often and catch up to where it's needed. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
As you continue to build your library, have you thought about a journey for the person doing the art? Because when that first kind of art project is going to be with crayons, and as they get down the road, they're going to get more and more sophisticated. Have you thought about helping them also, that keeps them engaged, saying, your week 1 paintings are these, by week 50 you can now do a Picasso?
I think so far, like you said, it's a great point, is like all of our videos are super like diverse. It's like you can start off here, any point, and so we would encourage someone to start off with a 1 or 2 star, of course, but from there, it's not like, oh, this is a systematic order. However, what we wanted to add is like a more like systematic course, like you said, for portraiture. So like the sketching of like a face is like maybe 5 to 6 videos long, and these will all be like continuous. So after the first lesson, we'll recommend here's the second lesson. So by the end of the whole series, they're able to really like enhance that skill. Yeah.
I just have one question for you. I think everything you said is fantastic. Have you considered, or are you considering creating a gallery space or a place where they can share what they've done?
Yeah.
And which will then create this, they can maybe like comment on one another's work and create like dialogue between the users.
Yeah, we definitely want to make like a community network feature. I think that will come like immediately after we're able to have like the user system, where if instead of just like having this open in your browser, you sign in with an email, a password, so that way your like profile is stored. And of course, this like personal information will keep very private, and you can have like a username, a name, if you whatever display you want. But then you'll have this like discussion board almost of all these different like people's works, and you can like, share, comment, stuff like that. Yeah.
Truthfully, you could keep it based simple until you get to that point. Just have a gallery page, like click on the gallery and people can literally just have their images in tile formats with all the things, and you can just either heart it or not. And then the person can see how many likes that they got.
Sounds good.
One quick question. One quick question. Is it only on a website right now, or do you have like an app for it yet?
Right now, it is just the online platform.
Okay.
The mobile version does work, but it is a little bit like finicky. So that's something we're going to be improving. So like an app would probably be ideal, so that it's like a one click on your phone instead of having requiring internet every time. But offline access does require a much larger like storage space. We'll be using once we upgrade like the entire platform. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Alan, thank you very much. This is
Thank you very
marvelous.
We welcome our 4th finalist from McLean High School with the project Gateway. Welcome.
Good morning, Sharks. Thank you for being here today. My name is Jasmine.
My name is Sophie.
And my name is Jaden.
And today we're presenting our project Gateway.
Each year, more than 3 million older adults in the U.S. are treated in emergency rooms for fall-related injuries. And even after they physically recover, they are left mentally scared, afraid to move, afraid to walk, and even to live normally again. That mental barrier is just as debilitating as the injury itself. Studies show that only 35% of seniors actually fully complete physical rehabilitation programs. That means the majority are either unable to access traditional rehab due to cost, mobility, mental blockages, or simply lose motivation and confidence halfway through.
Reintroducing Gateway, a virtual-based, mentally focused rehabilitation tool that empowers seniors to rebuild confidence in walking again safely from the comfort of their own homes. Sharks, as we head off to college, we want to make sure that our grandparents are left with the best possible care to come back from their current and potential future injuries. Many of our grandparents have suffered through strokes and other severe injuries, so this creation is really important to us, and we hope our new changes are astounding.
So what's new? You spoke and re-listened. Gateway has evolved, and we're so excited to show you what we've been working on. Taking the judges' advice, we fully shifted away from physical-based training, and Gateway is now 100% focused on mental rehabilitation. Just to refresh your memories, Gateway is a mobile app that connects to any VR headset, and once launched, the user selects a setting, maybe a city or their own living room. Our app simulates walking movements, as shown in this video, combining exposure therapy and desensitization. All exercises are done standing still or sitting in place, 100% fall-free.
So now let's get on to what's new. Well, users begin a guided visualization experience where they mentally rehearse walking through that environment. Soothing narration audio during the simulation walks users through their breathing, posture, and confidence. It's like meditation for mobility, providing a structured step-by-step approach to rebuilding confidence. And the best part? Well, they never have to physically move. So we've introduced guided VR exercises so users are never left wondering what to do next.
Another brand new feature is Home Scan. Using LiDAR technology, light detection, and ranging technology, Gateway now allows you to scan in your surroundings and upload it to a virtual world. From there, users can practice looking into their own homes, practicing mentally before ever taking their first real steps.
We also now have a voice assistant. All it takes is a simple, "Hey Gateway, go back to the home screen." This is where accessibility meets innovation. We also have biofeedback compatibility with smart devices like Apple Watches or Fitbits to track heart rate, stress, or breathing patterns. This data will help our users understand when they're feeling anxious and calm them down and track progress over time. Lastly, to ensure the safety of our users, we also have added alerts connected to their smart devices that notify them when their heart rates are too high so they can take a moment to calm down before resuming.
To be clear, this is not physical therapy, this is mental rehabilitation. Because walking again starts all in the mind. No danger of falling, no pressure, just progress. So now here's our walkthrough of our app. First, users begin by putting in their username and password and logging into the app. Once you log in, here you
Hey Gateway,
to the home screen.
take me back to the home page.
And that is our new digital assistant, voice assistant. We always have a medical disclaimer. And in here are the different settings for locations that you can choose from. As you can see, it simulates your walking.
Take a moment to get comfortable. Soften your shoulders. Breathe in
Here's our
deeply
soothing narration.
and slowly let it go.
As you can see in the top left corner is our heart rate, which can be
Hey Gateway, resume.
connected to your Fitbits or Apple Watch. And here's our new home scan feature using LiDAR technology. And that would be like a final product look of what it shows after you scan your home.
All right, now we have a live demo. So first, you take out your virtual reality headset, and it can be as cheap as $10, or you can go for a higher end model. And then you take out your phone, and here's the Gateway app. And you can put it in to that virtual reality headset, and then just slip the headset onto your head. There's also an Apple Watch compatibility or with Fitbits so that you can go back to that home screen and connect through Bluetooth, making sure that users have access to heart rate or blood pressure monitors.
So how does this actually work? At Gateway, we like to call our model CDE. It stands for Cognitive Restructuring, Desensitization, and Exposure Therapy. Psychology tells us that just by being in the environment to learn how to walk, seniors are more likely to become more confident in their skills, leading to a more optimistic approach to walking.
This idea is also supported by additional work in the Science Direct Journal. A 2022 study done in Hong Kong, published in the Archives of Gerontology, linked higher amounts of confidence in balance to reduced falls. While these data points show promising signs of feasibility, as a company, we continue to do more tests to ensure that our product is the best that it can be, because science takes time.
However, some of our preliminary results are quite promising. For testing, we went back to the Hope Sunday School to test and survey multiple different seniors, and we focused more on their confidence levels this time. Out of 20 seniors, 85% reported increased levels of confidence, with an average of initial 5.6 out of 10 on a perceived confidence rating, moved to an 8.1 out of 10 of confidence rating just after 30 minutes of using Gateway.
During product testing, seniors praised Gateway's very simple and intuitive design and found the guided visualization experience to be very motivational and relaxing. They also appreciated the increased safety features like the digital assistant and the safety notifications, but suggested some more improvements like detailed biofeedback to enhance their progress tracking and more advanced levels for those who are feeling a bit more confident.
Now, let's see who else is in the market. Companies like XR Health and MindMaze, as we can see in the top right corner, are innovating in neuro rehab. But their models often rely on physical rehabilitation, expensive equipment, and sometimes guided therapy with clinicians. Gateway is quite different. Gateway is mental only, so it's not physical therapy. It targets walking mobility, while these other companies usually target upper body or hand mobility. It's self-guided, so no therapist is needed. And most importantly, it's danger-free, which means that seniors don't have to move and they cannot encounter any obstacles that will hurt them further. Lastly, it's 100% affordable.
While our competitors charge hundreds for subscription services or clinical visits, Gateway is just an affordable one-time purchase for $15. That pricing makes us ideal for fixed-income seniors and rehab centers alike. This ensures that users can purchase the app and have access to all the tools without ever feeling pressure of continuing to pay for the app.
In the first 6 months after launch, we anticipate to reach an audience of approximately 1,000 seniors, garnering a gross product of $15,000. However, with time and higher developmental capabilities, we hope to expand Gateway's reach internationally, using marketing and the App Store to reach others around the world who have similar issues.
But this is just the beginning. In the future, we plan to 1, add multi-language support to reach a diverse community of senior citizens. 2, expand AI-based customization so that Gateway learns your pace and preferences as you move throughout the app. And 3, add family care and therapist check-ins so that family and therapists can drop in onto your Gateway progress and ensure that you're right on track. Additionally, we envision Gateway being used in hospitals, after surgeries, in rehab centers post-op, and in senior homes all across the world. Today, there are over 1 billion seniors, and that number is expected to double by 2050. With such a large market to serve, Gateway is ready to meet the need and demand for this entire product.
We named our app Gateway because it's exactly that, a gateway back to independence, one confident step at a time. Because when fear holds someone back from even trying to walk again, it's not a physical issue, it's a mental one. And with Gateway, we're not just helping people stand, we're helping them believe. Thank you.
Wow. Fantastic. Just an amazing, year you guys just spent updating and innovating on the product. So I'm just very, very pleased to see that and all the steps you guys have taken on this thing. And when you talk about the confidence level, and this is what we keyed in on last year, can you tell me a little more about your methodology, and did you do any testing with the person when they were actually physically, they were mentally more confident, but were you able to see any confidence levels in their actual physical movements?
So a lot of the seniors that we tested, they first showed that they were curious about trying to walk. And obviously VR is a new technology, and so it's definitely interesting for them to learn. But as soon as they tried it, and we saw that most of them became a lot more confident, when they started walking, and many of these seniors that we tested were able to walk right now, they felt really free to just keep going. And it was more that they were able to see where they're supposed to be, and they knew from just sitting there and just looking at the product that it kind of works that way. And so they were really happy when they finally started walking and they realized that it wasn't as bad as they thought.
Great presentation. I love the play on words with gateway, as in very clever. My question for you is, and forgive me if I missed this, will there be a way, or is there a way for the person to track how long they've walked, so that they can kind of like meet a new goal? So like I felt confident to walk for X amount of time based on this. And so that they can kind of know, or their therapist or caregiver can know, okay, they walked for 5 minutes this time. Let's see if we can encourage them to walk for 7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that's something that we also mentioned in our future expansion is tracking record and tracking progress. So that's something that we're definitely looking to add in the future. For now, I think that they can, maybe write it down and say like, hey, today I, mentally walked this many minutes. Next time I want to do this many minutes. And then our app also tells you like, take a break. Like your heart rate's exceeding, maybe it's time, do some breathing exercises, things like that. So that can also push them to next time, maybe I'll go 5 minutes without this reminder that my heart rate's too high. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, as the developer for the app, when I was kind of doing the behind the scenes work to code like when the notification would pop up, there's definitely a way we can track like how long they're walking until the notification pops up. So we can store that data in their records to make sure that they're keeping their heart rate under control.
Good presentation, guys. I actually was watching you guys this morning. So I was like, when you walked in, like, I saw those guys before, but that doesn't matter. My question for you guys is, you guys mentioned that you work on the Apple phones. Are you going to incorporate the Android phones? Because I have an Android. A lot of people don't have Apples. So that would be a good thing to look into if you haven't already, to do all platforms for mobile. And then another question I had for you guys is, you said the cost is $15. How are you going to keep it like that with costs rising like constantly all the time?
Yeah, so I originally developed it first on Apple because that was like my first programming language, but I'm also very familiar with Android development, and throughout studying at school for these past few years, I can definitely see how we can implement this in Android. From my experience with Android app development, it's pretty similar. A lot of the features we use can be applied to both platforms, so for sure we can get Android on there too.
As for the rising prices right now, we're not entirely sure what to expect from the market because we need to send it out into the world to see how our users adapt to Gateway. But at the current rate, we are planning on at some point increasing depending on how many users we get, and we want to make sure that it's a fair price, but also a price that helps our business grow.
So I have a quick question. Now, when you say walk, you mean walk in the app, not physically walking? Okay,
Right,
just
yeah.
want to make sure. Okay, so one of my big questions was, how do you expect to expand? I mean, I think we saw 7 videos. Are you expecting to, for instance, my mom, she's 7 years old. She mountain lady. She fell off her bike. Now she's afraid to, jump back on the bike. How do you expect to expand, especially with something as, not necessarily niche as VR, but also, you're introducing us. Me and Rolo introduce VRs into the community centers, and there's a lot of pushback and new emerging technology. How do you expand?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So for future expansion, we definitely want to go into other realms, not just walking. So maybe if you already mastered walking, maybe you want to do running. That's another thing. Visualizing running, and then that can help you begin to do that desensitization. And then same thing for biking, as you mentioned your mom. Maybe that is also an avenue that we can explore, is adding like maybe visualizing biking to also help with those individuals. And then also for people that might have pushback in community centers, rehab centers alike, definitely more testing. Once that we prove that this is definitely something that people across the world can trust, then they'll have more confidence to test this out and try it.
I mean, I would just add that like all it takes is one person in that community center to say that it works for the entire community to add on to it, and that's kind of how it will work for all around the world, and that's what we hope.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back. I was so happy to see that you guys brought this back because it was a fascinating concept, and I also agree with my fellow Shark that you guys did a lot to address some of the questions and concerns that we had last time you were here. I did want to point out one phrase that was used, I just think is an excellent tagline, when you said meditation for mobility. I really liked that because I think that's explaining exactly what this is. And that was some of our confusion last time around, exactly how this would be used. So excellent, great. What I would like to know a little bit more about is, you talked about going to different senior centers and things like that. How are you going to market this to a larger audience?
Okay. So right now we are expanding just in the DMV. And so I personally have a lot of connections at different senior homes. I perform music concerts there. But through that, I'm able to talk to different heads at that senior home and ask them if we can start testing there. And then from there, we tend to expand throughout the different states in the area because we, like through senior homes like the Sunrise program, there are a bunch around the country. And so then we can have access to their communication centers and we can expand through that community. And then once you're in multiple states, it keeps going and it spreads throughout the US. And it's a little bit of a slower process right now. And so we'd actually love your guys' input on how we can expand as well. As more professionals, I'm sure you guys have a lot of advice to give us, and we can't wait to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you go back and touch on the LiDAR piece again, where the person would film or someone would film the inside of the house, and that becomes part of their world? And then also, do I have a lot of control over that, where I could send one of my kids out, let's say I fell down and broke my leg, send one of my kids out to walk the neighborhood, and that would then become part of my program?
So for that LiDAR part, the home scan, yeah, you can scan it anywhere. And it's kind of just like taking a video almost. And so you just walk around in the neighborhood. And then as soon as it does that, it saves it into the virtual world. And so then it converts it into 3D so that you can walk around and you can look at different parts of your house or your neighborhood. And you can also become familiar with that. So as you start learning how to walk again or start going outside more, you're already really comfortable with the same surroundings that are around you. And that makes it a little bit easier to keep going.
Great.
I kind of want a little more about his question, but I have another question. It's actually more of a consideration because you said you would like our feedback. I think a great place that you can take this is to physical therapy rehabilitation centers. And also right here in Fairfax, there is an adaptive fitness gym for people who have disabilities, who have survived stroke, have Parkinson's or things like that, and a lot of those folks might want to engage the trainers, which one of us, actually my son, could actually use this with their client. So that's a consideration for you. Rehab centers and the adaptive fitness gym is a good spot. To go back to his question though, can you talk a little bit more about the user experience as coming, I got my phone, I'm walking through the neighborhood, now what? Take me step by step.
Yeah, so one of the new features we introduced this year was the guided breathing exercises. So especially for someone who's, kind of having a harder mental time going through this process, they're just viewing the scene in their headset and they're listening to this guided meditation. And with this new biofeedback compatibility, what we're hoping to do is kind of get their heart rate under control as they're going through this environment. And over time, as you're watching more videos, kind of leveling up to harder environments, just adapt to what you're viewing, basically.
For specific setup, you take the camera, you go outside, you take a video, and then there's like a little save button in the Gateway app so that it saves it as a video and becomes a 3D world. And then when you put it inside the headset, you just click on that video and you put it in, and it will automatically allow you to view your surroundings. And then you can view that for as long as you want. And then as Jasmine was saying, then you have the biofeedback to make sure that you don't go for too long or it's not too strenuous for you. But it's pretty simple in that aspect because we want to make sure that Gateway is accessible for all of our users.
So you were asking for ideas. Me and Raman, we both work for Fairfax Community Centers, and a lot of the community centers have senior centers, and there's also standalone senior centers. I would go over there and you could do your research over there, and that would be another avenue to expand your business because there's seniors all over the place.
So I was actually gonna say the same thing. So each community center and senior center has about 10 VRs, but they're Oculus Rifts. I know you guys are native to Apple. One of the things, especially when he was saying walking around the neighborhood, you would need access to pass through. I don't think that a phone would be able to have have the path through, you would need to buy a, $200-300 headset. How do you market and sell these more expensive headsets to the senior community? And a lot of our community members and a lot of the seniors, they might be on a fixed income. How do we market it? How do you market a more expensive product to these people with needs?
So for our app, if you're talking about the scanning, the LiDAR technology, it will create it and it will transform it into a 3D model. So you wouldn't need an Oculus, where if you're looking at the phone, it already is in like the VR sort of mode, where like if you look at it just by looking at the phone, it's like kind of already what you would see in a VR. So the only thing that the headset is kind of just doing is like blocking out the outside of it. So with ours, you could use a Google Headboard, cardboard VR headset, which are like $10, or you can totally go for a higher end one. But yeah.
So just to add, there's no expectation for it to be something that we can take on the road. We can go around our neighborhood, just something that we stay within our finite space.
Oh, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, for future expansion, that we could take it on the road. That's a great idea that we would love to add in future.
Okay, thank you.
So you've also talked about this really being mental rehab, and I liked that as well. Are there any considerations with potentially partnering, having some kind of link or partnership that would give them someone to talk to about those mental concerns that they're having, the reason why they may need this platform?
Yeah, definitely. And I know that like insurance companies, they have like lists of like available therapists, available physical therapists, available doctors that are within their insurance. So maybe like partnerships with these insurance companies that they can tell them, hey, under your insurance, these are a list of mental therapists, physical therapists that you could go to. But definitely you could use our app in conjunction with your own therapist or physical therapist.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Just one closing comment. As I was thinking about when we were talking about the mental rehabilitation, I'm not sure if we touched on it last year, it goes into that whole visioning mentality as well, where you have athletes that vision things. That could be another avenue, is working with people that know how to do that, because that's really what you're doing. You're building that brain elasticity or that brain confidence again. So this is another tool in it. But again, well done. Thank you guys very much. It's great seeing you again.
Thank you so much.
We welcome our fifth finalist from McLean High School, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology, and Herndon High School with the project Chat. Please introduce yourselves and tell us about your project. Welcome, Chat.
Hey Sharks, are you guys here looking for a way to help senior citizens save and hold on to those memories and lessons they have all taught us? Introducing Chat.
Chat, connecting honored ages together. I'm Aryan and this is my team.
Sean.
Chenzi.
We're here to introduce our project to help combat senior isolation.
We're here seeking for $75,000 for 15% of our investment.
Let's start with a fact. Studies show that loneliness increases the risk of dementia by approximately 50%. And 24% of Americans 65 and older are socially isolated. This is a major health crisis, and that's why we created Chat.
Inspired by our own family members struggling with isolation, we set out to build our app Chat. But it's not just an app, it's a way to bridge generations, making sure that no senior is left behind, where digitally connected is so meaningful in today's generations.
A real life situation that I experienced was last Christmas, where my neighbors recently just got a new phone, and it was the day after Christmas, really cold, and they asked me is there any apps out there for senior-friendly apps out there for them? And I just stood out there, couldn't give them an answer. There was nothing out there, and there's nothing I could say to them. And therefore, like, social isolation really hurts elderlies because of their technology complexity, and that could lead to many health issues such as heart diseases and depression.
That's where chat comes in. Chat is designed specifically for seniors with large text, voice commands, and a user-friendly interface. It makes sure that being connected to your friends and family is easy and accessible.
It combines AI assistance, social engagement, and private communication into one streamlined platform, offering everything seniors need in one place.
Chat has 5 main specialties that we offer. We do AI features such as offer personalized reminders and manage appointments. We also offer community groups, so finding other elderlies who have the same interests and hobbies as you. We also have voice interaction, which is really important if you prefer hands-free. Also, we have private chat, encrypting our information, your chats and information with other relatives and friends. And lastly, my favorite is the event finder, where you can find new events around your area, where you can meet new elderlies and find common grounds.
So we tested chat with 15 seniors at its local senior center and 5 additional seniors through an additional form of testing. And from this, we were able to get very enthusiastic responses and feedback where the users really loved the AI commands and the voice-enabled features where it really helped them with using the app.
However, many have gave us the feedback that our icons were too small and texts were too small, and therefore we went back to our beta app, and we made it larger for senior citizens to operate. Here are a couple of photos that I want to talk about here. So the top photo is a photo of my colleague here, Aryan, with some of his neighbors who are senior citizen, and they gave really positive feedback. The only issue they had was also probably the text size, but they really enjoyed the feedback. They really enjoyed the app. The bottom photo is actually my neighbors who I was talking about earlier, and I showed them the app, and they were really ecstatic about the idea, and they really enjoyed it. They gave pretty much all good feedback, and it was really fun working with them.
Now I'll go over the actual survey we created and then the data that we got and analyzed. As you can see from these images, we had a really diverse range of questions in our survey, ranging from general technology questions to very specific open-ended questions. This really helped us gain like really specific information to help improve our app, but also gain general information to gain extra data. And as we can see, 50% of respondents stated that using chat was rated a 4 out of 5 in terms of being able to use easily. And this showed us that there's still some room for improving the ability to use the app easily. And then another picture really shows us that 45% of respondents stated that our app, their favorite feature was the AI reminders, and the least selected was the community support groups, which really showed us that we need to improve these community support groups by adding more diverse activities and interests so people can really find the things they love. And then on the top right, there's this really open-ended question where we can get really specific answers like the features are too small, or we want more features, or the text size fonts are really bad. So based on these responses, we were able to make really specific and deep changes to improve our app.
All right, now let's see a live demonstration of the app. So this is Chat's app icon, and when we click onto it, Chat saves the login info and password. So after we log in, we see the homepage where seniors can have easy access to for example, notifications, and also just events. This is a profile page where seniors can add to their story, edit their bio, and just share moments of their life with friends and family. This is a chat page where seniors can receive notifications from community groups and chat with their friends, or just receive information from their caregivers. This is the settings page and is especially used for, seniors adjusting the text size, adjusting the color, and adjusting the brightness. But it can also be used to adjust the language, and we currently have 3 languages. So this is our AI companion that we were talking so much about. So seniors can type any question, any command, and the AI will respond promptly. Overall, the AI is voice activated, which means that seniors can speak commands verbally and the AI will respond. So now let's look at a demonstration of our AI features.
Hey chat, I would like to be at the trip for DC. Could you book a spot for me?
Okay, I booked it. The event is on Saturday, April 5th, 2025. The group bus will be waiting for you near the entrance of Champlain Regional Library at 10 a.m. in the morning, approximately 30 minutes from home. Would you like me to send the location to one of your caregivers for them to bring you there?
Oh yes, please send it to Amy.
All right, location is sent to Amy.
Next step in future testing. We plan to have more Zoom meetings with other senior citizens to refine usability for them. We also plan to have more outreach to our community, collaborate with senior centers to expand user testing. And with your investment today, we also plan to advertise more to a new branch of audience, and also more international sponsorships.
So there's obviously a lot of apps that are really senior focused, but unlike other apps, Chat was senior first. It has all the essential tools you need into one simple app and interface. That's why it stands out from these other senior focused apps. And there's a growing need because the aging population is rapidly increasing and the demand for accessible technology has never been greater. That's why Chat is so important and it fills that gap. So in terms of intended user need and cost benefit analysis, so Chat enhances social interaction, it enhances mental health well-being, and it also enhances independence. And with Chat's AI-driven app and it's designed with the voice-enabled features, it's able to stand out from all these other apps, and it has a unique purpose with all these diverse features. And the most important part, and my favorite part, the app itself is free. This makes financial burdens not be a problem, and it can help any senior that's in need without cost in mind.
Why Chat? Chat is not just another app. It's a solution to one of the biggest challenges seniors face today.
It also promotes mental health and independence through AI assistance.
We made Chat with seniors for seniors, making sure it fits their unique and specific needs.
Chat has the power to reconnect seniors, reduce isolation, and improve lives.
We plan to gain more funding, partnerships, and also gain additional user testing.
We invite you all to join us in making this a reality.
Thank you.
Fantastic, well done. Really appreciate the teamwork there at the end. So I really like, as you guys were closing this thing out, you kind of mentioned that Chat was made by seniors or with seniors for seniors. I really think that's an important tagline because that helped me kind of bring more context to this versus you guys building this in isolation. Build it and they will come. So I'm happy about that. Can you tell me about when it comes to building that community for the users? I'm trying to understand if I join Chat or if it's anybody can kind of pop in. Can you explain how I would connect, let's say, to my colleague here, if she was a senior. She's not.
I would be happy to answer that. With our chat account, you would have a user ID, and you will be able to, you could print it out if you would like to do it the traditional way, or you can show it to your colleague there, and they can search you up online. And also, if you want to make some new friends, you could also find many community groups around your area. So say if you're interested in books, there'll be a book club around your area, and you'll have everyone's user ID there, and you can start chatting that way, and also meeting them. You can also meet up in person.
Yeah, so there are two main ways that seniors can find other people on this app. So first, seniors really, they do things in groups, so they can share verbally. And also we make suggestions based on their location, because we have this location tracking, but it's not like stalking. It's just location tracking so that we know who's near another user, so that we can connect them, so that we can build a more connected community.
You kind of touched on my question when you said it has location tracking ability, except for my question is related to the events option. So is there location services built into the app to see what's in their area specifically, how are the events being updated or added?
So we have events for seniors everywhere in the country near their area, but we order it by the how near they are from the houses or the place where the seniors live. So for example, if I were a senior and I'm here, so they're going to suggest, our app is going to suggest an event happening around this government center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was asking if it's built in like through location services, like some of the apps you type near me and then it brings them up. So that's how yours is working? Great.
So you guys did really good. I like your idea. My question for you guys is, you said chat's going to be free. How are you going to keep it free with costs always rising and stuff?
Yeah, I would love to answer that question. So we plan to have the marketing, the business strategy as, if it's free, then you're the purchase, you're the buy. So the way we will make money is through ads and also affiliate marketing. So we plan to, we plan to like promote many products that would help elderlies. So like health equipment or anything of senior needs, and that's how we would make some money. That's how we would make money. We would make commission off that and through ads.
I would like to add on to Sean's answer by saying how when we were planning the app, we really wanted to make the app free because it's such a useful app. We didn't want to limit any users from not buying it due to financial reasons. So even though it's free, we're obviously going to have many sources to gain funding for the app. Like we mentioned in our presentation, we wanted to partner with future organizations and healthcare providers, which when we partner with them, we could gain money through them from like fundraising, but also we can gain money from ads. But while ads might seem like a negative aspect, it could actually be positive for our app because we wanted to incorporate ads in a positive way by making it only ads from these healthcare providers and organizations that want to have a positive impact on seniors. So for example, if a senior was on our app and the ad popped up, it wouldn't just be a random ad that is not related to their lives. It would be maybe a product advertising a new senior device or something related to seniors to improve their lives.
Great job, very charming. I have a question. I'm glad that you guys brought up ads. So my biggest one noticing is that there's a app called Facebook. I don't know if you guys are familiar with. Anyone in this room over probably the age of 30 has a Facebook, which has messaging, which has events, which has even on your picture that you said that they wanted to add photos. They have Instagram integration. How are you going to pull users, especially people who are not stubborn, but who refuse to give up Facebook, even despite it being an awful app? How do you pull those users away from the recognition, the naming of Facebook, and move towards your app?
So obviously Facebook already has a wide reach, like worldwide, and it's a really well-known app. But obviously to stand out, unlike Facebook, we have integrated like a lot of additional features that really stand out from Facebook itself. Like Facebook doesn't have any current like advanced AI systems, and we do, which really helps stand out in terms of other markets that market social media apps for seniors. But also, like I said before, like our app is different because it has our voice commands, and that's not something Facebook has. And like we mentioned, our problems with different diseases or problems like memory loss with dementia or dexterity problems where you can't use your hands, where our AI command really stands out because instead of having to type or click on a button, we can just talk, which really stands out from other apps.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say that? Yeah, of course.
Of course.
I would additionally like to say, unlike Facebook and the other social medias out there, something that we really forgot to talk about, but like what is really important is that our login information, we make a guest account for you, so you don't need your email address, which can be quite complicated. Creating your own email address, or most seniors don't like putting in their phone numbers. So we make a guest account for you. We just need a couple information like your name, where your location is, and and you create your own username, but your user ID is something that we create for you, and you don't need any email or phone number.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. So my question is, I think this is a great idea. And I really liked how you were able to do more than one thing, right? So you can say, I want to attend an event, but then AI prompts, do you need some additional assistance with that? But I do see a potential issue of, with seniors, they don't know a lot about technology. And unfortunately, that puts them more at a risk for people taking advantage of them through technology. So they are going to be interacting, potentially with community groups. Have you guys given any thought to security-wise, what would you build in to keep seniors safe from, people who potential scams, things like that?
Yeah. So to answer that question, for the security issues, we would definitely require an ID verification. So one, you have to be over 18 no matter what. Number two, we have to, if we have like local people around here, we're going to start small around Virginia. And if, say, for like a community, we want to reach out to the actual organizer who runs the organization. So we would plan to meet up with them and make sure they are a real organization and have good intentions. Once we expand, we plan to include more offices and really make sure that these organizations are real and they are meant to help seniors.
To clarify, so you would look to vet some of these community groups before they were an option on the app?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add on to Sean, like Sean said before, something that stands out with chat from Facebook, like he mentioned before, was how we create the account for you, which is usually a problem for seniors. But with that, like that also is another security thing, because when we create that account for you, that also comes along with another verification process where, like, if you want to log in and like a scammer is trying to log into your account, like that account we created, so they're gonna get the verification process, like two-step verification, to make sure no scammers stealing another senior's account. And adding on to that, I think how we're gonna make sure that everything is safe and verified is because this app, when we were planning it, we were making sure that it was targeted for seniors and only seniors. So like Sean said with the ID verification, we want to make sure there's no like person that's underage to be using the app, because it's meant for only seniors. And usually, like with data and stuff, we want to make sure it's secure with VPNs and other sources of verification?
I'd like to add one last thing. So there's a feature that I use on one of my social media apps where they prevent me from going outside of a website. So what I mean by that is like if you got a message saying I really want to talk to you, text me on this number, we would automatically block that that user for you, and that would prevent more scams happening.
Excellent, thank you.
Great. I don't have anything else. Tiffany?
You just touched on my question just a little bit. Can you take it a little bit deeper? So you're saying if the external user is texting my granny,
Yeah.
here's my number, call me,
Yeah.
it will block. What if my granny is saying, here's my social security number if you want to help me with this thing?
Yeah.
Will your system do that as well? And what other safety features, like, is there, and this is also a consideration if it's not there, that if the user is saying anything or typing anything, you have like some key words that your system will recognize and maybe do a pop-up to say, hey, this might be tapping into security issues, whatever. But go ahead and speak on it.
It's not even a pop-up. We would just straight up, the message would never go through. So yes, we do have some keywords. So like social security number, phone numbers or email address that would not be on the app. Also, typical scam messages would be blocked straight away. So we have some keywords like social security number, phone, email, text me on this, stuff like that would potentially make seniors come off the app. We want to make sure this app is secure as much as possible.
That's good. I would consider doing a pop-up of some sort to say, hey, you might want to reconsider something, because some people don't know, and then they'll think that the app is not working properly, and then they'll be calling me. Granny be calling me, telling me it's broke.
But we wouldn't even have that pop-up. We would just straight up.
No, I'm saying
yeah.
Because they wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, like we would. It wouldn't even have to be a pop-up. We would just block them straight away, kind of stuff. And we would further invest into the account of the person who sent that kind of message.
Okay. I'm sorry to kind of cut it off, but we are running up against the clock. So fantastic. Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate the innovative ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
We welcome our 6 finalists from the Madera School with the project RapidX. Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Varsha Ayala and I'm a sophomore student from the Madeira School.
Hi, I'm Isha Vishwanathan and I'm also a sophomore from the Madeira School. Imagine this. A senior collapses in a grocery store. EMTs arrive, but there's no way to get their medical information. Does this person have diabetes? Are they on blood thinners? Who's their emergency contact? Minutes tick by, and in emergencies, every second counts.
That's why we created RapidX, rapidly assisting paramedics in individual data extraction. Our mission is to accelerate saving the lives of our loved ones in emergencies by aiding paramedics in obtaining information significantly faster and with fewer errors.
Currently, over 50% of medical treatments for seniors are severely delayed due to insufficient access for medical information for paramedics. This creates a tremendous opportunity for us to bridge the gap in pre-hospital care.
In 2021, when my grandfather was battling liver cirrhosis, he had a medical emergency at home. My older brother called 911, and when EMS personnel arrived, they asked a series of questions about his medical history. Fortunately, we had all the information handy in a file, but I couldn't help but wonder, what if this had happened to someone living alone?
In addition, I live with my grandmother who has Alzheimer's. Every single day, I see the challenges she faces in recalling even the most basic details. And every day, I'm always worried that one day, what if she just walks out of the door? If that happens, she won't be able to give the first responders any of her medical information.
We want to do our part to ensure that no one experiences those scary possibilities.
Our solution is near-field communication, NFC, and QR code-enabled patient wearables. The user simply enters their information onto the app and scans the information onto the RapidX wearable. Then, in emergencies, EMS personnel can use any device to scan the RapidX wearable and gain access to the information. RapidX provides quick and reliable access to patient medical information, reducing retrieval times from 8 minutes to just 8 seconds. Additionally, the solution minimizes human error in recording details in times of emergencies.
In addition, users have the option to customize their NFC chip in forms such as a bracelet, a keychain, a pendant, etc. We're also planning to integrate with electronic health record systems such as MyChart in order to eliminate manual entry of health data and also ensure that up-to-date information is available straight from the doctor's records.
This is a demonstration of our app.
Here is the RapidX app. Once the user clicks on the app, they see 3 buttons: Write to Pendant, View Summary, and Delete Data. The user clicks on Write to Pendant to enter information in English, or they can switch to Spanish. Users can enter their demographic data, medical history, emergency contact information, and insurance details. Once they click Submit, the app displays a ready-to-scan pop-up message. The user will tap the RapidX pendant at the top of the screen, and they will see a blue checkmark indicating that the data is saved successfully. Users can click View Summary to see the unique URL and QR code generated. When clicking on the URL, user-entered data is displayed on a data portal, and the same data is displayed when the EMT scans the RapidX pendant. Different data sections are highlighted and separated so EMTs can access the relevant information within seconds. EMTs can scan the pendant by directly putting their unlocked and closed phone to the RapidX pendant, or they can use the camera option on their devices to scan the QR code and get the information.
Our target audience is split into 2 groups. First, individuals who entered their medical information into the RapidX app will include seniors, adults with disabilities, and caregivers. Then, different EMS personnel can come and scan the product and access the information during emergencies. RapidX stands out from its competitors in many different ways. First, it's not bulky or awkward like its other competitors, making it much more fashionably appealing. Then, we use NFC and QR code technology, implement instant data retrieval, integrate with electronic health record systems, offer customizable and wearable options, store an extensive amount of patient information, and are also more affordable than our competitors. The different differentiators used in our competitive analysis make up our unique value proposition.
For our pendant design, we 3D printed 4 prototypes and got feedback from seniors and caregivers. Design 1 is a box snap closure mechanism, Design 2 is a rotating disc mechanism, Design 3 is a screw mechanism, and Design 4 is with an NFC chip embedded in the pendant. All of the seniors preferred Design 4 as it is versatile, sleek, and lightweight. Additionally, Pendant Design 4 is waterproof, compact, and features a locked NFC chip, ensuring it remains functional without the risk of losing the chip.
We tested the RapidX app and device amongst 18 different individuals, including both male and female participants, as well as those in different age groups. Our testers included 5 EMS personnel from the Fairfax County Fire Department, 6 caregivers, and 7 seniors. Here on the left of this slide, we have a few comments from our different testers, and here on the right, we have a video of 2 of our testers, including 1 senior and 1 EMT.
Right to pendant, ready to scan. Amazing, that works. Now let's test it with the QR code. The app was, typical smartphone app, easy to use, no problems. Seemed to work well after it was set up.
I'm going to scan the QR code to get the patient information.
pulled up all the patient's information with their picture, their paperwork, and their forms, all on my iPad that I can then transpose onto my report. With my phone, I can hold this up here, tag activated, and now I've got all the patient's information and I have all the data I need.
Seniors gave us feedback on how easy it was to navigate the app, how quick it was to scan the pendant, and how accessible the design was. EMTs gave us more critical feedback, specifically suggestions on how to improve the app. For example, some of them suggested renaming fields from, say, the primary contact to the emergency contact information. They also suggested adding fields such as the person's weight. In addition, we also got valuable feedback from caregivers. Many of them emphasized that, for example, keychains were a great option for additional wearable purposes.
This is a cost table to create our product. We estimate $199 per year for the Apple developer account to test and publish our app. To create the actual pendant, it costs $2 per NFC chip, $5 to 3D print the pendant, and $2 for additional accessories such as the chain, bringing the total cost per product to $9.
We've identified multiple channels to advertise RapidX through, specifically because of the audiences that these channels reach. For example, by working with the Arc of Nova, we get to work with individuals who have disabilities, and therefore we can ensure that RapidX best meets their needs.
For distribution channels, we plan to sell RapidX wearables on the RapidX website, online retailers, local pharmacies, and the AARP website.
In the future, we plan to add a few enhancements to the RapidX app. For example, we plan to add personalized settings to, say, increase font size or make color adjustments. We also plan to make the app available in more languages and also integrate with electronic health record systems in order to eliminate manual entry of health data.
For product enhancements, we plan to create additional product types like bracelets and anklets. Additionally, we plan to sell RapidX wearables in collaboration with Fairfax County and test them with EMS personnel.
RapidX isn't just a product. It's an idea that can give you peace of mind that your loved one is safe. We're asking for a partnership with Fairfax County in order to train and test our product with EMS personnel, reach way more seniors and adults with disabilities, and also collaborate with EHR systems experts.
Join RapidX in the mission to speed up pre-hospital preparation and care for your loved ones. Thank you.
Fantastic. I can tell you guys go to a fabulous all-girls school. There's just confidence in your demeanor. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're going to, I'm sure, get a lot of questions around security. So I'm only going to ask a partial one on this one, more around PII. So if I have my data on this device and an emergency EMS person comes up, will it give them my name, anything that's PII, personally identifiable information, my name, date of birth, all that kind of stuff, or is it just my medical information?
Your personal identifiable information is available on the app. However, seniors are not required to fill in all of the fields. All of the fields are optional, so if they do not want to fill in their date of birth, they don't have to.
Okay.
Great presentation, great idea. I love it a lot. With the feedback that the EMTs gave you, my question is similar to that, and you kind of spoke to it a little bit. I couldn't really see exactly what the screen looked like if you can go back. My question is it categorized based, so like it's quick for the EMTs to look at and they're not having to sift through a lot of data? Is it like maybe some common disability types, like diabetes, heart? Is it categorized by body shape or anything like that, so it's like a quick for the EMTs to see it?
It's categorized in the sense that we have like legal information such as the person's name, date of birth. Then we have information such as past conditions, all categorized in different sections.
Nice.
And in fact, this was one of the comments that the EMTs gave us, and that's why we implemented it in that way.
Thank you. And I thought you did mention it. I just wanted to make sure I understood you correctly.
think the idea you guys have is good. The only thing I could see is that you need to test it more, like, because you only tested it with a few people, but the few people that you have tested it with have given you good feedback. So just take it to like a senior center, or like an old folks home or something. Just give them away for free, and then come back with your test results, you know?
Thank you. In fact, we did test it with a few senior centers such as Kensington and Sunrise Senior Living in Reston. However, we will look at more testers.
One of the questions, first and foremost, great job. One of the questions I had was that, you know what, I just had on the tip of my tongue, and I just already forgot it. You're actually going to sell it in the store, which I thought was really cool. It gives the availability for people. I think you said something was going to be like $9 for each one. Fantastic. Or $15 compared to the $25. So my question is, a lot of phones, typically, I think flagship phones have the ability to NFC write, but not a lot of, like, you know, the non-flagships, you know, the phones that be more readily available to people with need, you know, lower incomes, needs along those free phones. If they don't have access to an NFC writable device, how do they go about writing their data onto the NFC?
So along with an NFC chip in the RapidX wearable, we'll also have a QR code that links to the same exact URL that the NFC chip does. So any device with a camera will be able to scan it, the QR code specifically.
And the QR code would be attachable to the back of the pendant, just like here. So EMS personnel would have the option to either scan it or see the QR code on the.
So what's preventing someone from just using the QR code then, if they don't have the ability to write and making their own QR code?
We went with the NFC chip because in the future, we can work with devices that don't have signal. In case it's in an area that doesn't have signal, a phone will still be able to scan an NFC chip. However, that's a future plan. For right now, we went with the QR code so that it is accessible.
Okay.
Additionally, some of the feedback we got from EMTs was that a lot of medical assistive devices out there already have the QR code, and it does take like a little bit of time to pull out the camera on the device and scan it. So the NFC was just another quicker alternative to access the same information.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, excellent presentation skills. You know, your confidence is, you know, really comes through, and you guys did a great job. What I really appreciate is that I know we've heard a lot about specifically seniors, but you are also addressing adults with disabilities who cannot always communicate, you know, what their diagnoses are or what their concerns are. So I appreciate that. Question I have, you guys touched on this just a little bit about working with the EMT personnel to talk to the, you know, to educate them about this product. Can you go in a little bit more detail as if you're partnering with Fairfax County to really get this out there, what type of training does that involve?
So all of the EMS personnel obviously undergo like a couple weeks of training, especially at the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Academy. So if this product were to take off and we see a lot of seniors and adults with disabilities wearing this pendant in Fairfax County, in the training that the EMTs get, we would make sure to include a section like what the pendant looks like, where to look for it, how to actually scan it, what like position to put your phone in to actually get the information, just so everything would run more smoothly in the emergencies.
Okay, so now I'm going to jump back into building on privacy, but into security. So let's say I'm a bad actor and I see you're wearing this pendant and I walk by. How easy is it for me to then hack that chip and get the data?
In terms of if the senior is allowing or a senior or adult with disability or whichever user, they won't, first of all, they'll have the RapidX wearable like very close to their person. So it's very hard for someone to just put a phone and like scan the QR code or scan the NFC chip. Also, if they lose the pendant or the wearable, there is a delete data function on the app. So then if you're a bad actor and you got the RapidX wearable, you won't be able to see the URL. You'll see a 404 error instead.
And I can
Oh, good.
add on. Should I add on?
What's that?
Should I add on to?
Please do, yes, I was gonna.
So again, like about the proximity, if you were trying to like put some device and steal the information, the way NFC chips work, it's near field, so your phone would have to be like a centimeter or two away to actually get the information. Like if it's here, you can't access it. So unless someone was like invading your personal privacy space, it wouldn't really happen in that sort of way.
And then kind of building on that with your system, again, I'm putting all this awesome data in there, and I don't want people to know about it. I'm not sure if you've gotten to the point where you've talked about the protocols to make sure that you're keeping that data safe, because people are going to be accessing, you have the EMTs accessing it. How do you make sure only the right people get access?
Currently, it's accessible to everyone, but in the future, we're looking to incorporate some sort of password protection where only EMS personnel or nurses or caregivers would have this specific password to access the information, so not everybody can go around sharing your information.
In addition, I just want to add that like Varsha mentioned earlier, none of the fields are mandatory, so only what the user is comfortable with sharing, knowing that it is all the information is available to anyone who has a device next to the wearable. They can put in whatever information they're only comfortable with. And in addition, we don't ask for social security number or any super private information like that.
Your question made me think about like the universal mailbox key that the mail carriers have. They get to go all over. It's kind of going to be like that for your EMT users, right? Okay. My question, first, I really love the cross-platform design and how you're going to plan to have it incorporate with resources like MyChart and things like that. And forgive me if I missed you saying this, will it have it where, specifically with an adult with a disability, maybe there's a QR code that they can scan on MyChart where the information just boops onto the phone, or is all of this data manually entered?
Currently, all of the data is manually entered, but like we said, we want to integrate with these electronic health record systems. So already online, there are APIs that are available for us to use. So in the future, we would have to incorporate that API into our code so that for the name, we pull the name from that, whatever it is on that system. Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any QR code. It wouldn't be up to the patient to go into their MyChart profile and take that information to go into RapidX. Like Varsha said, it would be automatically pushed. The user wouldn't have to do anything.
Thank you, great.
Just a small comment. It doesn't seem like, you ever been to Disney World, Disneyland?
Yes.
You know how close people get to you?
Mm-hmm.
People's credit cards get stolen really regularly. I would just say put them in an RDIF case holder in case any of that thing like that happens, where it would block people stealing from information, because it's not necessarily something, 2-3 centimeters. I know you wanted to do anklets, you want to do bracelets, something that you might not necessarily be watching or anything like that. Also, in the future, would you ever consider maybe having it the encryption based off who has the app? Is it something that you want to be universally seen as a QR reader, or would you rather have something typically in-house? So if it's like Fairfax County, they only have licensing and access to it, so keep some of that security in-house rather than anybody have access to a QR code.
That's a good suggestion for future plans.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're only thinking about the encryption phase, but when we get to that, we will look into making it publicly available only for certain people.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure I can ask a few more around security. You mentioned the universal mailbox. I'm kind of thinking of it almost like the TSA key. Only, I guess, the licensed people, the EMTs, would have access to it. But I'm guessing, let's say I'm an EMT and I lose my device. Are there ways to turn that device off or unregister it or something so that, again, me as a bad actor, I say, oh, look what I got, and I can go find ways to steal that data. how do you turn that device off? Or deny access to that device?
Could you rephrase like
Sure.
the EMT's device?
So let's say the EMT has they also have the ability to, I guess when they scan the QR code, they have permissions to your system to gather that data, correct?
They will see a URL that has all that data. They will not be exposed to the app.
But not anybody can come up and scan that QR code and pull that, or can anybody, again, scan that QR code and get the data? Anybody can right now?
Yeah. Right now, yes.
Okay. In the future, are you thinking about ways to prevent, again, you pass out anywhere, and I'm a bad actor, and I see this old lady, and I scan the QR code because I have a chance to gather PII. How do you prevent me from doing that? You may not have thought about that. That's okay.
Yeah, so in the future, we will be looking at encryption systems and other methods to make it available only to like an EMT or something, but right now we don't have, we haven't done much research on that.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Anybody else? This is a fun one. So thank you very much. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
A big thank you goes to all our student finalists. All your projects were thoughtfully designed and compelling, and we very much appreciate you using your talents to improve the well-being of older adults, adults with disabilities, and their caregivers. Many thanks to each of our judges for volunteering their valuable time and expertise to this competition. We also thank the challenge partners, the Department of Family Services, Fairfax Area Agency on Aging, the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services, George Mason's Keller Institute, and Integrity One Partners. We again acknowledge and offer many thanks to Pete Lamont from Integrity One Partners for sponsoring this challenge. A reception was scheduled for May 6, 2025 for the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors to recognize all Shark Tank finalists. Stay tuned to see the winners of the Fairfax County 2025 Fairfax Area High School Student Shark Tank Technology Challenge.